Okay, welcome everyone. Okay, I guess the first thing to do is review the minutes of last month. Did everyone see them in?
I did. Yep.
Any changes or
I
additions?
thought they were good.
All good.
Do we have to
I make a
accept
motion
them?
to approve the minutes.
Okay, motion to approve.
I second.
can't believe I didn't know.
Am I like really enormous up on the walls? They're like a really huge.
No, only half.
Only half.
We're the other half.
I'm probably
does
like
somebody
looming
second?
over you like. that.
He said, I can say, he did
Go
second, I
ahead.
said the third, Janine.
Okay. seconded. Okay, and Christian, are you in a hurry? Do you want to do your maps first, or do you mind if we go through the?
You can do whatever order you like. I'm not in a hurry.
Sure. Okay, so our first order of business is Pride Parade, June 15th. I have signed us up to March.
I can actually do that.
And, well, I guess, we should do the unveiling of the banner. Would somebody
Oh,
want to?
yes, I can.
Okay. I do have to go to Home Depot and get some kind of,
Folder.
yes, holder.
You know, this is just PVC pipe on the end and it's
Okay.
lightweight.
Okay, so this is the banner we purchased.
That's
From
awesome.
Parade.
Gorgeous.
I love
Look at
it.
that.
Very
Okay.
cool.
And as you'll notice, everyone's using purple pens because we got some pens to hand out. Yeah, so I'll have to go to Home Depot and get some PVC. Yeah, that's
Lightweight.
Oh, I'm trying to find out if somebody else has some. Yeah, right, but so this is what we'll use for the parades, just so you know. And if we ever,
Any other event we have.
yeah, if we have a table,
Yeah.
anything, so that'll be our advertising.
Great.
Okay, and then the next parade, 4 days later, would be Juneteenth parade, June 19th. I've signed us up for that.
I'm a question mark on the 15th, but I should be here on the 19th.
Yeah,
Okay.
the 15th, they say line up at 11 and it starts at noon for middle school and goes to the energy. On the 15th, it's a Saturday.
Yeah.
And the 19th, Juneteenth one, it starts at City Hall at 10:15 and goes to Beacon Field.
Do we do anything once we get there?
Which one?
Enjoy the festivities.
Either one.
Yeah, the June 15th, the 19th is a big thing going on at Beacon Field. Empress has a whole day of.
Like there's food and events, but we're not gonna set up a table. We originally talked about it, but I think it's too, we don't have anything to hand out yet.
Mhm.
You know, I think we're
Yep.
better off waiting.
Yep.
And just like Memorial Day, the mayor felt that wasn't appropriate for us to be marching in that one.
Yep, yep.
Which I understand.
Yep.
I was a little gung ho
Mhm,
as somebody.
that's great.
I'm hoping to be able to come to the Pride Parade and march with everyone, and I will be out of town.
And bring your son.
I would love to. I mean, I've brought him to
I
Pride
think the more
before
the
and he likes
merrier.
it, so maybe he'll march with us.
Yeah, I say anybody who wants to march with us,
All right,
definitely.
Okay, cool.
great.
Oh, okay,
Tell Matt that. Tell Matt that. So if he posts it again, he can put a thing on there, our welcome to March.
oh, sure, yeah, because I'd love to have, like, if I had,
That's a nice
if my
idea.
grandson's in town, I'll bring
That's
him.
great.
And I'll only have to pay him $10, but he'll do it.
He'll do it.
Just kidding.
Or get
Okay,
him ice cream.
dinosaurs. And the other thing, I don't know if we should discuss today, we're in the future, a diaper drive.
Mhm.
Since we're missing members, I don't know if you want to talk about it today or not. Because we can put this under old business, just something in the future to think of, because I think there's a need.
Absolutely.
that we
Do
want
we
to do.
ever have any feedback, Alana, on the past diaper drives? How successful they were? I don't remember
You know,
feedback.
I think Mary Coachella was really happy with the way that the one went. That might be worth asking her directly because that was one of the projects that I actually didn't do much for. I just was like, yay, that's awesome that you're doing that. For some reason, I can't remember why. I think I was working on something else, but I wasn't really as much part of that one. One thing I do think we could do is check in and see if we want to do a separate diaper drive or if we want to like be in touch with the Family Center, or United Way about the current diaper drives that they're doing and see if we want to like, get stuff and then add to theirs or do something separate, I guess. I don't know if people have
And-
any thoughts about that.
Well,
I don't
was
have any
thinking, like,
thoughts
towards
either
the
way. I'm just,
holidays.
Yeah.
I was thinking like November, December when families struggle.
Yep.
It would be nice. And I don't know, maybe we add, I don't know, formula. I don't know.
Yeah,
Anything we have. is
Because
a plus.
holidays are so
Absolutely.
stressful for
like
young
diaper drive,
families.
et cetera, it could be,
Yeah.
yeah, yep, I think that's a great time to do that.
And formula's
Yeah.
expensive.
So expensive.
Not that diapers are cheap. Yeah, so that's what I was kind of pushing for, like November, December, the
that
holidays.
sounds great.
Yeah,
And we can definitely
Yeah.
work with another agency.
yep,
I have no,
Yeah, and I think that if anyone has questions about tying it back to domestic violence, the way that we talked about it before, which I don't think you need to be educated on this, I'm just sort of saying how we talked about it, was that the connection between family stress and domestic violence. So we're trying to do things that reduce stress in the family and will, sort of be protective factors against stress spilling over into violence or abuse. Now, obviously, we know that people who don't act abusively don't suddenly start becoming abusive when they're stressed out. So it's not like, exactly that cause and effect, but in a household where there is some abuse, potential for it, reducing stress can be a protective factor. So that's how we talked about it before. In case that's helpful.
and I think displacement of families, if, there is them fleeing the home, obviously, they would need supplies to
Yeah.
do so. Sometimes it's a matter of you have 10 minutes to get out of the house.
yeah.
And
How
then
about
possibly
socks?
no income.
What do you think of adding socks? Is socks a issue in?
I
winter?
don't know if socks are, I know that for the homeless population in general that is, but I don't think that could hurt. That's where I think the et cetera comes in and
Yeah,
we
that
can
would be
put
kind of nice. to include.
suggestions.
I'm just thinking what they need in the
Yeah,
winter.
absolutely. I think it's a great idea.
I-
Yeah, and also domestic violence shelters often ask for specific things, like they'll ask for, no, we don't have any shelters right in this area. They're specifically domestic violence shelters
No.
because Nelquit and Safe Passage, neither of them have shelters anymore. But in general, what the shelters often ask for are things like travel size toiletries. So that those would be good, et cetera, items too that are really helpful for people who don't have places to stay. And for people dealing with, leaving quickly because of domestic violence. I'm sorry, I think was someone else was going to say something. There's a little delay here.
Nope, you have our full attention.
I was just gonna add that I'd be glad to talk to some student groups to see if they wanna be our workers.
Very cool.
Oh, nice.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'll ask around.
Yeah, because I could set up a big box in the hallway at City Hall. I mean, there's places we could put boxes where people can
Right.
just drop off on the first floor,
Yep,
maybe.
I'm happy to put one at our office as
Oh, that'd be
well.
good.
Yep,
Yep.
That's great. And we can do it at the FERCog too. Usually we donate to the United Way diaper drive, but I bet people would do this as well, or if it's a combination.
Okay, great. Okay, now on to old business, the walk-in map. And Christian has donated some of his time today to discuss it.
Yeah, did Alana, I sent it to you and Janine, did you send it out to the group yet? Just for my,
So I didn't because I thought I wasn't supposed to. Um, I'm still a little confused about open meeting laws, so I wasn't sure if I was allowed to. So I
That's fine, that's a
didn't,
good question.
but
That's
I
good.
have it in front of me, so if you show it to them in the room, then I think
it-
we're good, because I have it
it-
on my screen.
Did everyone get back to you with their homework?
People worked on it. Some people are still waiting to hear back,
Okay,
and other people sent me things. So if you are still waiting to hear back today, just let me know. Wait, I think that you are waiting to hear back from a couple of
I got
folks. I
mine
know
still.
that can be tricky. Oh, you got it. Thank you so much.
No, I don't have it yet. I'm waiting to respond.
don't?
It's very frustrating. How many
Uh-oh.
times do you email someone?
bonus.
You know, how many times, what's the etiquette for re-emailing? So I
Yeah.
re-emailed one person, say I talked to that person and they said, yeah.
It does have to be a short sentence.
Right.
Because I got.
So-
too
You
know
much
what?
info.
I would say thank you so much for the reach out. It can be really hard to hear back from from organizations about this kind of stuff because they often don't even know who to ask and they're like so to their ears in all the crisis stuff that they do. So my thought is you've done, we've done our due diligence by you asking. Thank you so much for doing it. I say that because what we're going to put on there certainly is not going to be offensive. It's going to be based on what's on websites. We can put a first draft out there. But this is my suggestion, and anyone can take or leave this, but this is my thought. And Christian, I don't know if you have any thoughts about this based on the other resources you put out there, but I was thinking maybe we could put out a first draft with sort of what we proposed if we haven't heard back from people. And then we can drop it off and say, printing, we reached out to you and didn't hear back. So this is what we did. And if you have any changes for the next draft, we're happy to incorporate them as long as they're within our word limit. Does that sound okay to people?
Yep.
Thoughts?
Did we
Okay.
find out where that one agency was moving?
Which one?
Oh, Salison.
Did we find out where
Oh,
they're
yes.
moving?
Yes. Becky told me, and I can add that in there. Yes,
That
thank you
would be
for
a good
asking
change
about
to
that.
make. Sorry.
Yes, thank you
No,
so
that's
much for
good.
mentioning that.
Okay, yeah, only because
Um,
I know we mentioned they're moving, but nobody knew where.
Yep, they're gonna be in the Riddell. They're gonna be on
Oh,
Riddell
33
Street. Let me,
Riddell?
Oh, wow.
yeah,
that's a good
at like the
spot.
Riddell Medical Building. Yeah, is
Oh,
that
yeah,
33
that's a
Riddell?
good
That's a
spot.
really good
I like
spot.
that.
Well, that's gonna be a map adjustment.
Christian's probably already got it
Christian's like,
changed.
Yeah, I'll have to figure that one out.
It's a great spot.
It really is.
What was the thinking behind the order of numbers? Or the order of agencies?
They are in alphabetical order. I went with the most neutral option. But you could absolutely order them a different way if you wanted to have something very important at the beginning. But I didn't want to take that responsibility.
You're thinking the numbers are confusing on the map.
No,
No, okay.
I didn't get that far, but that's my second question.
Yeah, you could order them like the three that's up in the top left, make that the one, and then like kind of like go across 1, 2, 3, like visibly on the map. I will say if this ever gets tweaked, that'd be a bit of a burden to have to constantly tweak those as well. So keeping alphabetical might be easier.
And then it wouldn't lay out good at the bottom.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like how it is.
I like how, I think it's logical.
Yeah, alphabetical makes sense because technically you're probably looking for an agency
Correct.
Mhm.
first. So where is it in the list?
I think so too. The only switcheroo that I would do is just making DCF in the Ds and taking out the Massachusetts in front of it. Because does that
Oh,
make
yeah.
sense to people?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that.
Yes.
And I had a question actually. This is sort of related to the descriptions that we got. Amanda got description back from CHD about the Greenfield Center for Wellness. And I was trying to get like a general Greenfield Center for Wellness description because they house both CHD and the Community Health Center. But CHD sent back a description that was just for them, which was just CHD. So I'm wondering whether you all think, I know we're kind of squished on here already, so I was trying to figure out, like, do you think it makes sense to just change the Greenfield Center for Wellness to CHD? If we need to like add the Community Health Center on, or if somehow it could say Greenfield Center for Wellness, like CHD and Community Health Center. I guess I'm just trying to figure out how to
Do they
deal with
both do
that
separate things?
particular one. Yeah, what do you think?
If they offer separate services, I'd separate them.
That makes sense.
If they
I
do, but I
agree.
don't know what they do.
They do offer
They
separate.
definitely.
Yeah.
do.
Is
Should
it-
we add and have 21? Or should
Yeah.
we try to reduce, or should we try to take one out so that we're not getting more crammed? Do you have any thoughts about that? I know some people weren't sure about Life Path. That was sort of like that, and DCF were sort of seen as separate, like sort of tier 2 because they're over on Munson Street, but they're also sort of so connected to potential, especially DCF seems very connected to these issues. I don't know what people think about that. I don't really have a feeling myself. I just wanted to check in with everyone else.
Is it possible to add 21? Could you squeeze it in or
Yeah,
not?
everything would just get shrunk ever so slightly. So
20 is perfect, but
But you keep it at 20 and just, well, maybe not, maybe not.
Why is Life Path in there?
Because older people get abused.
Okay,
Yeah, there's, and it's domestic
than you
violence
know.
because of the son smacking on the mother, that's.
Yeah.
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 Well, I'm wondering if
We
you
also
just
help
have a
people-
hyphen with Greenfield Center for Wellness / CHD. So it's the same location, but it's specifying two different agencies.
yeah,
We could do that. It could say Greenfield Center for Wellness / CHD / I guess the thing is Community Health Center. Maybe we could just use the, I don't know, do you think it's okay to just use the acronym, the Community Health Center? Or do you think that's too many letters? It's like CHCFC or something like that.
they wouldn't know what it means.
Right, yeah, I agree with you that I think people may not know what that means. We know some will, but we want everybody to know what resources are available. So I do think unfortunately it would have to be spelled out.
Yeah. So we can take out Greenfield Center for Wellness and instead have, we'll have CHD and then it'll be the same, yeah. What's cool though is that the Community Health Center is also a C letter. So here's one other alternative that I'm not attached to, but just trying to solve this issue. If up toward the top of the C's or somewhere in the C's, it said CHD / Community Health Center of Franklin County, or whatever the official name is of the organization, do you think that could work since they both have the same address, that they're both C's, so people would probably be looking for them in the same area anyway?
I think that could work.
Yeah.
Then we can do that. Christian, do you want me to send you exactly what we're thinking, or do you want to just write that down here?
if you could like, write it out how you think it should be written, that'd be helpful.
Okay, yep, I will send that to you.
Does it make any sense to move Bay State to the Bs?
Yeah, so that I think was originally just labeled as Franklin Medical Center, and then I added Bay State, but then forgot to move it up to the Bs. So I think it's preferential to say Bay State Franklin Medical Center, so yeah, I can move it to B.
Great.
Oh, yeah, thanks for noticing that. That's
Or you
great.
could put Bay State for percentages. But
It's not too big of a hassle just to move it up one time. Should be good.
And I think honestly, like, it's okay to, like, if we're thinking about what might be first on the list, having a hospital at the top isn't a bad thing,
Yep.
Definitely.
Because it's hard to decide what would be the top, if we were going to have something that wasn't in alphabetical order. But honestly, the hospital is somewhere that if someone goes there, they would hopefully, well, first of all, they're open 24/7. So that's really great. And then hopefully they would be connected to these other resources if needed. And that's something that we could do potentially for follow-up that I'd be happy to help with, is to connect with hospital administration or talk with the emergency department and say, hey, this is something that the mayor's task force created. If people come to the emergency department and domestic violence is one of their presenting issues, or you think it might be, how do you connect them with services? How does that work? We could maybe offer some staff information and just see how updated their staff training is. So that would be kind of a good follow-up, and we can be like, you're first on the list. And so anyway.
I like that sideways follow-up.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and I do know that, if people go there as a patient, they will ask, is anyone hurting you at home? So that's kind of one of those standard questions that they do ask all patients, but they will ask that question usually in front of whoever brings them in, which if they were being hurt at home is usually that person. So I think a little like reminder about sort of best practices in terms of, intake for people who might have violence or abuse issues is always worth it to redo that part anyway because of that. And just see sort of where they're at in terms of their protocols.
I had 2 visits this spring. They asked me that question each
Mhm.
time. They're
Yeah.
very
Yep.
consistent.
That's great.
Yeah.
One thing to note is that you'll see right at the bottom, it says collected by the mayor's task force. I know that there were considerations you guys wanted to make about making this map kind of somewhat nondescript, so if someone found it on another person, that it wouldn't be immediately obvious that they're seeking domestic violence resources. So I put that there because I think you guys do want people to know that you collected this, you're the group that put it out there. But at the same time, those words are there, and if someone saw that, it could cause an issue, because you guys expressed that concern previously, so I just wanted to double check that that was something you wanted to keep.
Well, we could neutralize it by saying collected by the mayor's office. So then people know where it came from, but we're not outing anybody. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll change it to collected by the Greenfield mayor's office.
It's generic enough where we know where it came from, but we're
Mhm.
not, identifying ourselves to trigger anybody.
Not that you want more phone calls, but
Hmm.
it make any sense to put our.
Be fine. Yeah, I don't mind if you.
It's a
put
nice
that-
compromise. Yeah, I mean, because it's nice people know that we're doing this kind of thing out in the community, but that is a nice sort of way of just adding a little, reducing risk a little bit.
Yeah.
One other question I had about the name of the map at the top is I was trying to think about, does everybody know what social services means? I mean, now obviously if they looked at this, they would see what kinds of things they are. I'm wondering about, like,
Assistance or.
yeah, like help and assistance or community services, or I don't know what the most sort of, I was trying to think about what the most plain language options are, because that's one thing we talk a lot about in public health communications is what's the plain language kind of way of saying this. So I guess I'm wondering if anyone has thoughts about that, or just saying
Google it,
something at
just-
the top like help is available in
Assistant.
Greenfield, Mass, or something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, I agree with you on the social services. I don't think that's reaching the right audience.
Community services. Mm.
I don't know, but, sorry, I was gonna say, community services makes me sometimes think about recreation.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Fun
right,
stuff,
right.
so community can be confusing too, that's the
Yeah.
problem, but.
Assistance.
Maybe something super simple like,
Helpful services?
what'd you say?
Helpful services? I don't know if that's just too generic to a point where it doesn't mean anything, but
I think that's super good plain language. The other thing I
Google's-
was thinking was just something like,
say,
where to find help in
and
Greenfield,
saying
Mass, or something
community.
like that.
Oh,
Where to find assistance?
Yeah, it's saying community assistance, services.
I wish that Amanda, Becky, and Megan were here too, because I feel like they all have, other additional, they do so much direct assistance right now.
yeah.
In support services might make people think more that it's like therapeutic, which some of it is, but that sounds.
How about where to find help and support? It's a little different.
Like the support, definitely.
Yep.
well, that's it.
How small can you read?
You had to shrink it down. Help and support is really assistance.
Right.
Looking for another word in there too. Other than
It's,
It does what?
yeah.
Help and
Where
support.
to find help and support in Greenfield, Mass.
I like that.
I do
I
too.
love it.
That's what it is. Good job. Yeah, that's great.
I like that.
Oh, thank you.
But
I'm
you
glad
lost the
you
word
like that.
map.
Yeah, no longer like map.
I think-
But you can see the map, you know?
Yeah.
And we can always change it in future versions. If we get feedback from the community that they're like, we wish it said community services, or like, that's confusing, or like, something, we can always change it. That's the great thing about doing doing this way. And Christian was really the one who kind of gave me that perspective that like, we can there and have a version, it'll be dated, and then we can do another version, which that really helped me to sort of feel freed up to like get this out there and then to get feedback and do it from there, which has been really helpful. So thank you. That's actually helped me in a lot of my other stuff too, Christian.
Yeah, good to hear.
Okay. Are you all set, Christian, on the changes?
Yep, I got all of them written down besides the one Alana's gonna send me, so.
Okay. And the last thing under old business is the translation quotes. We're probably not there yet.
No, yeah, once you have the back page that you guys are talking about, at that point, and then when this is finalized as well, then you could send that off to UMass and get a quote.
Oh, hope
Aw.
you feel better. He needs a hug.
So what the quotes are gonna
Thank
depend on
you.
how many copies we make, and how big it is, how many.
So there's printing quotes too, but there's also a desire to have this translated into Spanish and I believe Moldovan. So that the quotes for those depend on the number of characters.
Have you ever done quotes where do you know
I-
like a ballpark, what it would cost?
I did one quote for a flyer and ended up getting it, and that was 2 years ago. I cannot remember.
I can't remember, like, I don't know if it's $25 or $250.
Probably closer to 250.
Okay,
Yeah.
we can have the Jill print these up.
They're amazing. We use them.
We just did our
That's
budget
who
books.
we always use, and their quality is like no other,
Spot
and their
on.
price is like no other,
Mhm.
and they're fast.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, any other new business or anything? I think we're,
That's
good.
I just want to make sure I'm set on what I'm supposed to do in terms of my homework piece, which is that I'm gonna send Christian the new wording for the CHD Community Health Center listing. Is that correct? And I'm going to send the new address for Salison's project. And
Yep.
then I'm gonna send you the final version of the back. And should I send that as a PDF? Like an 8.5 by 11 PDF? Is that the best way to send it?
Are you gonna pre-format it, or were you expecting me to format it to match the front here?
Hold on just a second, honey. I did it in Canva, so I have a
Oh,
format.
okay.
I have a formatted version. Because I thought before you would ask me to do that, just because we knew it might take a bunch of time. But what I can do is, if it's okay with you, I'll share the Canva version with you as well. And then if you want to make any tweaks to it, then you'll have access to do that. Does that make sense?
That makes sense to me. Yeah, I can make the fonts match or whatever, just super simple stuff.
Okay, awesome. And if you want to send me anything about like the fonts you used or anything, I can always just sort of do that. So I've pre-done some of that for you, if that's helpful. But I think what I used was pretty standard. I tried to use something that was like a sans serif font that was pretty standard too. Yeah.
Is your Canva account your FERCog email? Because I can also send you my Canva file.
Oh, thank you. It's not, I use a Gmail account that I use for work for that, but anyway, we can figure that out. How about if we're in touch after this meeting? Does that make sense?
Good.
Mommy's needed.
This is Ryden.
Hi, Ryan.
You want to say hi? That's the mayor's office. Ryden isn't feeling his best, but he's doing a good job today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not easy to share, Mom.
Yes, you can. He's gonna bring some juice upstairs and go lay down.
Good
Okay.
idea.
So,
Going backwards. Going backwards just a little bit, for the diaper drive. I have a contact at Greenfield High I could reach out to. I also have a contact at Turner's and at the men's school. And they could come to Greenfield to help with that. Or they could do their own and then bring what they get here.
Hmm,
Because it's a greenfield thing,
Right.
people have a problem with kind of expanding it a little.
Diapers are diapers.
right. Resources are yeah.
And
No,
it would fall under this.
right, it still would come back to
Yeah.
distributing from here, so
What's that saying? The more the merrier?
that's literally what I was thinking, Jane. Yes, yes. I agree, I think that's great.
Well, I'll feel out interest. Just to see where we go.
Perfect. And I'll check with Mary, like I said, just to see how it went in the past or
Yeah,
whatever, if
no
there's
way
any
you can
info.
figure
No, no. Yep, I agree.
out at Christmas time.
Yep, perfect time, Thanksgiving, Christmas.
And if we hear of any other things going on that we might think would piggyback, then we can tell each other, hey,
Oh,
I
definitely.
heard about this, you know, and that sort of stuff. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I think we're ready to adjourn and we'll have the meeting the same time next month.
Perfect.
Great,
Okay, thank you all for your time.
Thank you for having us.
yes.
Oh, we have to
Thank you
make a
so much,
motion right to
everyone.
adjourn.
Oh, motion to adjourn?
I made the motion, so did someone second?
Red.
Second,
Okay.
My
Mhm.
second, yeah. Can I ask a clarifying question? I know the meeting's officially adjourned, but just clarifying. So
get shut
are
off.
we feeling from this meeting that we're okay going ahead and printing? I'm waiting until you're done.
I want to shut it off.
Oh,
Can I- Or should I not?
stop the recording?
Yeah, or should I not? Yeah.
Um,
Because
No,
we
we
adjourned.
adjourned, so
We
you
adjourned.
can